here's my freeware lobby. So first thing you see is kind of this information panel with that replicate what it says, like it replicates 3 zone phases, random health and loot, and it has a purgatory box fight system and some other information, and here are some controllers to encourage people to support me in the item shop. So that's what the people will first see when I join this map. Then I'm gonna start this game. It will give them some information on what is going on. They'll see they have to organize their loadouts. They put in a box where they have 10 seconds to box up. And at the bottom it will show the placement system. So top 1 is 3 points, then top 5 2 points, top 10 2 points, and each elimination is 1 point. And then after 10 seconds the round starts and you can exit your barrier where you spawned in. And it will basically go into a zone wars with randomized zones. So this zone is totally random. It could have gone in any direction, but it chooses to go in this direction. And on top left you can also see how many players are left. So currently there are 7 remaining from the 10 players that we even created. And when you die, you'll be put in this box up area where it says waiting for the zone wars to finish, so people know what's going on. And then the minimap it also says you have to wait a bit for the zone wars to finish. On the right, by the way, you can see the scoreboard, so you can keep track of the placement of our players. And as well as in the zone wars map, you can also see how many players are remaining, so you can kind of see how much time you have left in this area. And then it says ending round when the zone wars is over, and it will put everyone in a new round after 3 seconds. So that's been some gameplay of my island. Now let's take a look at my island behind the scenes. So there are 16 spawns for every single player, and each spawn has their own class selector, which will grant every single player random shield and HP. Because in an endgame situation not everyone will be having 100 HP and 100 shield, so I'll be giving some players like 50 shield, or like 0 shield, or maybe 50 HP and 100 shield. So it's kind of randomized and you don't really know how much health your opponent actually has, to make it a little bit more realistic. And now for the loot system, there is 16 spawns, and 2 of these spawns will be having really bad loots assigned to them. So you'll most of the time get some green weapons, not a lot of mats to work with, so you kind of have to maybe push your one early on to get a refresh kill to get some more mats and stuff. And there's 2 spawns which will most of the times put you on high ground and also give you really good loot, like purple weapons and sometimes even golden weapons. And for the other 12 spawns, they'll just give you the normal loot, so most of the times blue weapons, sometimes purple, and sometimes green weapons, as you can see. So yeah, that's for the health part and the item granting system part. And yeah, one more thing I want to point out is over here there is these mutator zones I use to grant loot to players. And normally with my maps I just give players their loot right at the start. When they enter the zone they'll just get the loot, but must something ever go wrong with this map and for some reason players don't have loot when they spawned in the round, there's a like double checking system thingy. Like when these zones are being disabled and players teleport to the actual zone wars area, it will check again if the player has loot, and if it still doesn't have loot it will still grant them that loadout. So it just checks twice if a player has been granted loot instead of once, if that makes sense. So now what really makes my map really original is this. This is my zone system thing. Yeah, so I've been working on this for a really long time to figure this out. Like going into real competitive matches and like writing down the numbers of the zone speeds, the radii, and the distance that the zones travel. And I try to replicate that in creative as closely, like as realistically as possible. So that's what all these circles for. Most of these circles are just for randomization. So let me explain how this works. So there's 5 locations, and each location has like some original things. Like this location has a lot of stones, so you kind of know where you actually are in the map. So this is a lot of stones, these are some kind of pine trees. This is on the water with some boats. Here's some bushes with a hill, and here's a lot of orange trees. So you kind of have a feeling of where you actually spawned. And then every location has like 5 of these basic storm controllers. And these are just to pick one of the random directions the first zone can go to. So for example, it can go to that direction, or over there to this advanced storm controller, or it can go over here. So there's 5 locations, with each location having 5 directions for the first zone to go to. And then when it comes to the zone phase 8, it has to go into zone phase 9. Which are the advanced storm controllers are for, and these are also what causes all these red lines and stuff you see all around my map. And this basically will make the transition from zone 8 to zone 9, and that happens in a completely random direction. So that's so cool about this map. Without any, by the way, there's no delay between 9, so everything happens instantly. So as soon as this zone from, for example, from here to here ends, it will immediately create a new zone, as you'll see in this little gameplay clip. And this zone can go in any direction, and it will go for 100 meters. So the first zone will go 75 meters, and then for 1 minute, and then the second zone will go 100 meters for 1 minute. And actually, no, the second zone will actually, I think, 90 seconds. Yeah, it's not here, it's some other device, but I think, yeah, the last zone will go 90 seconds, and the first zone goes 60 seconds. So that's just to replicate the zones as they are in a real Battle Royale competitive match. And here's a system for that. Also with some, like, whenever something is being activated, for example making a zone, it will disable all the triggers, so just to make sure nothing goes wrong when it's in matchmaking. Finally, as most people know, I am a competitive map designer, and that's why I made this realistic Zone Wars map. But to satisfy other players who maybe are not that great in competitive play like Zone Wars, there is also a system that when you die, you will actually, as you can see in this gameplay clip, you will spawn here in a new area where eliminated players can fight until the Zone Wars match is ended. So yeah, you can kind of free build here and fight other players while you're waiting. It also says clearly on the minimap and on as an HUD on your screen that you have to wait a bit, so you don't really get confused when you're here, so you know what to do. Just it's kind of a raiding room where you can kind of free build and fight others. And there's no points or things involved, it's just kind of a waiting room, just to satisfy players who might die early off spawn every time, and they'll have something to do. And here again there's a system that will check twice if someone has been granted loot. So when someone spawns, they spawn in this mutator zone, it will grant them loot. But for whatever reason, if they haven't been granted loot, when they exit this zone, they will still be granted the loot. And that's kind of these two spawners here, which are attached to some more spawns, grant some other like healing items and stuff. My island image made by hand with all these triangles. If someone's interested in this, really cool, I think. So yeah, the spawn, the Zone Wars, and over there the Purgatory box fight. I hope you guys will like this map. If there's anything I have to add or this map, just comment on my video and I will take a look at it. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and see you later.